Hello, you car life legends. Hope you're all well and thanks for tuning in again. So, last week we discussed our three-car garage.
We did.
We did. Now,
Probably changed our minds again. Actually, didn't we see a new car that
M5.
the M5 Tour?
It's the M5 Touring, but again, we think it's a render, but so
Yeah.
we'll leave that.
Yeah.
There won't be another three-car garage for a while. But what we're going to talk about today is the modified car scene in the UK and how it's changed since, 20 years ago.
Well, it is, and this is the thing.
It's
isn't it?
20 years ago, yeah.
I think we still mess around with cars just like with the same sort of 21-year-old kids
Yeah,
that we
that's
were
it.
when we met. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was 21 when I met you, and I just bought my house. But you know, we were messing around with cars from that age. We were going to cruises and going to car meets rather than shows. The shows,
Yeah.
In fact, the shows then, I think there was only really at the time at that point. There was only one show that I knew of each year, which was Max Power Live.
Yeah, so going back
you know.
20 years, there wasn't the internet like it is now.
No.
So if there was a car meet, it was advertised in Max Power. It was generally Max Power Live, Jap Fest.
I don't even remember that. You
But
see,
I
'cause
think
I'm going back to the two that like when we were first into.
Yeah,
the scene.
so maybe
So
not.
really, when you look at the car scene, for me, what kicked off the modified car scene, the Max Power scene that we had, I think a couple of things kicked that off. I think it really did start turn of the century, the whole Max Power era,
Yeah,
2000,
massively.
late 90s, early
Yeah.
2000s started anyway.
Yeah.
But what brought that from kind of an underground car scene as it was
Yeah.
to the masses happened in 2004, which was Fast and Furious.
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
that massively, whether you like the film or not,
Yeah,
it
it
massively
did.
took what was a very underground car scene into the mass media, and there was lots of press about
Yeah, it
boy
was.
races, street racing, and
Yeah.
burnouts in car
And
parks,
I mean,
we always got a bad name.
in Birmingham, on the way into Birmingham, there is still signs up saying illegal car cruisers will be prosecuted.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a few of them dotted around the Midlands. But what's brought this video to the forefront for us is you sent me, was it a TikTok reel or an Instagram reel?
Yeah, so I think one of the other.
two.
It was about how toxic the car scene
Yes.
is. Why have you bought those wheels, not
Yeah.
those wheels? Why are you only this low, not that low?
Why have you bought the lower spec car, not the higher spec car?
Yeah.
And
And it's
yeah,
it is really true.
it massively is true. And I
And
think
we were judgmental pricks just like that on Saturday night.
We went to a car cruise on Saturday night. We drove in and we literally drove straight out. We looked at what car. So we've turned up in your two.
Yeah,
We
in
turned up
the
in
M2, yeah.
And we've literally drove in and drove straight back out. Now we've looked at the cars and thought this is garbage. But then, like you say, we've been massively judgmental because go back 20 years ago, we were in the era's type of that car.
This is what I said to you. I said when you go back to, I think there's two reasons actually that we looked at a cruise and went in and went straight back out.
Yeah.
The first one, I think it was kind of like me and you walking into a nightclub these days, and feeling like pensioners. I think I went there and I would have stopped and talked to people there, but I felt almost out of place and almost too old to sort of be there. That was the first thing.
Yeah.
I think the second thing was that we drove around. There weren't any comparable cars, if you like, to the M2.
There wasn't.
It wasn't really performance cars. It was probably young
people, first cars
and
first cars, first jobs, and they're on a budget.
And this is what I said to you when we started talking
Absolutely
about
spot on.
it. And I think when I look back, and Chris will get bored of coming up in these car conversations and films. But I think the problem is the reason that Chris comes up so much, and you, is Chris I have known for 30 years, and you have known for 20 years,
Exactly.
literally in a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah.
So, but with Chris, Chris left school at 16,
Straight to work.
and he went straight onto an apprenticeship at Massey Ferguson. He saved like buggery, and at the age of 17, he had a brand new Corsa.
Yeah, exactly.
Brand new Corsa SXI. Put the big sticker on the back window and put the blue lights on it and the big sound system and stuff. You know, that car lasted, the first one, all of about he'll tell me if I'm wrong, 5 weeks before he bounced it from curb to curb and twisted the chassis and wrote it off. But he got, because it was less than a year old, the insurance company just said, sorry about that, sir. Here's another one. And that actually stayed in the family for quite a long time.
It's like, and obviously you talk about Chris at an era, and obviously at that same era I had another group of friends. So obviously there was Justin, Alex, Jamie, against like Chris, straight to work.
Yeah.
And they had...
You're at college, I'm at college, I've got no money.
Yeah, I got pittance driving down around Dad's Mondeo.
Well, I'd been given my granddad's Volkswagen Polo, which was the same age as me.
Yeah,
so
and
they're
the old
Red Van Polo,
The lads are like, Jamie had brand new 206cc when it first come out, VTSs, GTIRs. Now, like that is, like GTIR at the time was 7-8 grand.
Yeah.
That's a lot of dough back then.
It's a lot of dough now.
Well, yeah, it is. It is. You know, so they had like you say, like Chris had mad cars, and then there's us on the budget, and we've gone to that scene on Saturday as the Chris's, the Jamies, the Alexes, with a few quid in our pocket and a decent car, thinking, So we have massively been judgmental.
Yeah, and
not
you know
thinking.
Actually, what I'm going to say to you is the next weekend that you're free, that I'm free, we haven't got anything on. I do want to go to it again.
Yeah, and
do you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to film a little bit.
Yeah.
And talk to people about what's got them into the car that they're
exactly.
in. It might be something I view as a shed these days, but it wouldn't be when it first came out.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like I think there was a Mark IV Golf there possibly, or
there was Mark IV Golfs. Obviously, your Corsas, your Fiestas, which are your
standards. I loved the Mark IV Golf when it first came out.
Oh, to be fair, I did.
You know what I mean? And you kind of look at it and go, okay, yeah, it's an older car now, but that's still someone's pride and joy.
Absolutely, and I think that's what we forget.
Yeah,
you know, I think the reason the car scene, and it's not just the car scene, has got so toxic, is social media. So back in and I see it a lot. 100%. I see it a lot on the golf side of things. So obviously, I've got the golf YouTube, the golf Instagram, and I see it a lot there. So back in the day when we did it, if your car was crap or seen to be crap, there'd be a group of mates that would say it was crap.
Yeah.
Because they've seen it.
Yeah.
That isn't then public forum for literally the world to see.
Yeah, because the only way it would be, I guess, back then would have been if you'd sent it into
Max Power.
Well, it was Reader's Rides.
Reader's Rides, yeah. Or you'd been lucky enough to get it featured.
In which case, if you got it featured, it wasn't crap.
But no, see, again, this comes back to, it's all opinionated.
Of course it is,
it's massively opinionated.
But to get featured in Max Power, your car, or Fast Car, or Redline, or whichever publication,
it would
have to be to a certain standard. Yeah, now, whether that wasn't to your taste,
exactly,
or whatever, so the one for me that always sticks out to me, because it was never to my taste, it was always too over the top, was, do you remember the Saxo Diavolo kit that they built, which had almost the devil's spoiler on it?
I was never... But
it was too much. It was too aggressive. It took like...
I think that was one of the first cars I remember being on Air Ride as well.
No, was it on Air Ride?
I might be wrong, but I remember the wheels being so tucked in. Yeah. It was either dropped really low, or it was on Air Ride because the wheels were super tucked.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to say because I don't remember. But you know, ultimately, if you didn't like something that was featured, I always said at the time, doesn't matter if you like it or not, you've got to respect the amount of time and effort that's gone into that build.
Yeah.
I think the big difference now is, whenever you hear someone say, oh yeah, this is my build, it ain't a build.
They're not anymore. They're not.
They ain't a build. If you look at what I've put on the M2, I've bolted bits on.
Yeah, which ain't...
That's what they call a build.
Yeah, and it's not a build. So the whole scene is changed in the respect of, it's not modifying anymore. Not...
There are some.
Sorry, it is modifying.
Yeah,
but it's not I'll call it Max Mark.
It's not hot rodding.
It's hot rodding, Max Power modding, whatever you want to call it. So, and I think again, what's brought the scene back to life again is the Max Power reunion.
That's one of them, but the actual whole show scene. This was the other thing, is that I only did.
Two seasons.
I did probably three shows last year that I went to. I went to Broke Boys at the Farm, which again made me feel like a pensioner. But the big issue with that show was it was just an absolute nightmare to get into. I spent about 2 hours queuing to get in, and it was it just was very. Well, I'm a 40-year-old bloke. I'm not the target audience,
I think.
But then I did get to the BMW show, at the pod.
Yeah.
And I felt, obviously, turned up there with the M2.
There's going to be a mix of age
people,
groups there,
different age groups and stuff. And the car got a really good reception there. And then, what else did I do?
But again, it's a scene, isn't it? It's like, if you look at the you're not going to get people building BMWs. They're going to be similar to yours. There'll be a few, obviously.
With the newer stuff, I agree.
Yeah,
obviously,
I mean, you go like E36 and stuff.
You have got a few, like you've got the companies like Auto ID and Evolve and stuff like that. Well, Auto ID have put different wings on the car. They've put a different front end on the car.
Yeah.
That's more what I'd call a build.
That's more of a build, but they're few and far between.
They are few and far between. But like you say, you might find the odd E36 dimmer kit or stuff like that that's kicking around. But ultimately, when I was back in the car scene, to the point where me and Cher would be going to shows every weekend sort of thing.
But your cars, they were proper builds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, especially the first one.
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. And the second one was, it just hadn't all been done by me.
Yeah, exactly.
And Shares had been done by someone else as
but
well.
They were still builds.
They were builds. But I think the other thing is, though, that you kind of, I don't know, I never found the same camaraderie or club scene with the BMW world as I found with the MR2 world.
Yeah.
And I've always said that.
I agree with that. And I think for me, so I was never really in a club. I was in the ZSOC when I had this.
Yeah.
But I had it that briefly. You can't really say I was a member. But
you were a massive member in that car. And that's why it ended up on its roof.
Absolutely. But obviously when I joined F3X or whatever it is, I can't remember what it is. That was my first sort of realisation of how negative the car scene has got with the M badge wankers.
The M badge police.
And it's like,
do you know what? You might not want to put the stripes on your grill, or
exactly.
You might not want the M badge on the boot. And absolutely, would I do that? No, I wouldn't. But if someone else likes that, let them just enjoy their car.
The thing is, for me, these people that are putting the M badge on and they are M Sports. They may not be an M car or an M Light, but it's a 320D M Sport. It has the M badges on from the factory. Granted, they might not be the big badges.
It does on the wings. And when I see an M320D, I do cringe a little bit. But whether I cringe or not, again, that doesn't matter. It's not my car.
You're not that person to take a photo of it, put it on a Facebook forum or put it on Twitter or Instagram and say, look at the state of this. That ain't the thing to do.
And do you know what? And some of the people that are guilty of doing that are big time players. I'm not going to call any of them out, but there are some big time players that do that.
They're also of an age where they should know fucking better.
Yeah, well, yeah. And ultimately,
do you know what I mean?
If you don't like, my mum always said to me, you've heard her say it to you because I took the piss out of you for something when we were around at my mum's house, and she turned around and said, it's from Bambi, this line. She says, if you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say it at all.
Yeah, that's...
And do you know what? And when there are a group of you and your mates and you're ribbing each other about your cars are shared...
That's banter between mates.
Yeah. When it gets this online stuff where, you know, the some of the hate that's put out because, you haven't got you've only got 19s, you ain't got 20-inch wheels, or whatever it might be.
They don't know the reason behind that. Like, I've got 19s on mine, I'm on a stop, but I wouldn't have 20s on mine.
I think you got 18 and a half on yours, ain't you? Half the wheels are missing now.
There is a little bit of wheel on the curb, somewhere. But I wouldn't have 20s on mine. And the reason I wouldn't have it affects the rides, and I don't anymore, but I was doing a lot of mileage for work.
You see, I've always argued I don't think it does affect the ride in the 4 Series, but I also accept when you're paying for tyres and you're doing a lot of mileage.
Exactly.
I understand why you
I don't want to be paying. I mean, what's it cost you for a tyre on a 2?
The 2's
not the 2,
not
sorry.
too bad.
The 4, because the 4 would be the same as the 3. If I went to 20s, it'd be the same.
Well, if you went to the wide 20s like I did, I mean, on the back of the 4 Series, I think it's 275 30 20, yeah.
And what's that?
I think they're near on 300 quid.
Exactly.
They never used to be.
No.
They've gone up massively.
And that's PS4S, ain't it?
That's PS4S, because I wouldn't put anything. I am a tyre snob. No, it's not.
I'm joking.
I've always said.
It's the only contact with the road.
It's the only contact with the road. I did when I first got the MR2, and I remember putting the second set of wheels on it. It had Nankang NS2s on. Now, I'm not slagging off Nankang NS2s because I know they're actually a good tyre now. But back in 2006-7, they weren't. They were dreadful. But yeah, I mean, I am a Michelin guy. I'm a bit of a, that's what the cars come on. Ultimately the M2 comes on the Super Sports. The 4 Series came on Bridgestone Potenza run flats.
But that you could choose between the two, couldn't you?
I don't know if you could on the PS4S or not, but if it came with the run flats, which the 4 Series did, it came on Bridgestone Potenza. I'll say they were dreadful. They weren't actually. They were a bloody solid tyre because I drove one completely flat back from Skegness, and it nearly made it all the way back to Coventry completely flat. Yeah. And actually, it turned out that wasn't even one of the Bridgestone run flat tyres. That was just a normal Bridgestone Potenza. But so they're noisy, but they serve a purpose. But if I was still doing all those miles, I'd have probably kept them on.
But again, it comes down to that personal preference, and budget as well. So I wouldn't put 20s on the PS4. I can't afford it. It's
no, but even on the 19s, you sit in the halfway house, don't you?
Yeah, I'm on.
Are you on Avon ZV7s or something?
No, like that? I might be. Or I'm on Kumos. I'm on
Kumos.
You're on
Kumo
Axis Super Sport or whatever they are, yeah.
Yeah, and they've been alright. You're on
Bank second set.
Second set at the back, aren't you?
Second set all round.
Oh, right, okay. So yeah, they've been good. But I do like the Michelins. The Clio has the PS4 on because it can't have the PS4S.
Yeah.
But everything is a budget, and quite often you see people ripping people about what they've chosen to put on their car.
But ultimately, it's their car.
It's their car.
Yeah.
It's and do you know what really gets my goat about it is that none of these people would ever say it to that person's face.
No, they wouldn't, and that's where it's wrong. Like, if I don't like something, I'll say, so you've done stuff to yours, and I've said, I'm not really a fan of that.
Yeah, you don't like the neons.
I hate the neons. I hate the neons. Like,
but they're just a bit of fun.
Yeah, I know that.
You know what I mean?
But if you were some...
I think that's the only thing you didn't like, isn't it?
On the 2, I think it is, yeah. Not a fan of the sun strip on the Clio. It's too big.
Yeah, well... I'm not.
You're not a fan of the sun strip on the Clio. You can't see traffic lights.
Yeah, I said that to you yesterday.
But yeah, I think. But if that was Bill down the road's car, put neons on it. I'm not a fan of that. But it's his opinion.
It's your own, exactly.
Yeah, it's his car.
Yeah. So and again, we've talked about the Clio and that. I'm going off on a tangent like I do every week.
Shock.
Project series. There are going to be 2 project series coming out this year. Yeah. We are finally going to sort your car out.
We're going to get it started.
I'm going to give you a slap if you don't open that wallet up and spend some money on it.
We'll spend a bit on it.
Especially after someone else has kind of...
Yeah, now I need a new front end spray.
Yeah.
So I may as well just get what it needs.
Get that sorted. And the Clio was bought as a track car. We had a bit of fun sorting that out for the track.
Yeah, and now you're not tracking it.
Yeah, I did a couple of years on the track, and now it's just I tend to use that as my little nipping to and from the shops sort of car. And
pimp it.
Yeah, so potentially...
We're going to slam it on airbags,
put
scissor doors on it. No, we're not.
Do a full old...
Do a full
2003
Let's do a retro Jamie Shaw charisma.
Jamie Shaw, split rear screen. But no, I mean that's probably gonna be a bit more than OEM Plus. It probably is going to be
a
bit
small
more of a
build
car. Yeah,
small
exactly.
Build.
Yeah, so but these are all things that will happen over the year. But I just think there's so much toxicness. I see silly things online, like people going, it's an auto, taking the mick because someone's got an auto, not the manual, or vice versa. And,
it's like,
come on, get a grip.
On that debate, I don't think I'd ever have a manual again, just because I really enjoy the lazy driving.
I think it depends on the car, doesn't it?
I think you probably. Do you know what? No, it doesn't depend on the car. It depends on the gearbox.
I don't know. I mean, the Clio is a great little manual box.
But it'd be not. But let's look at let's look at an Evoque. We've both drove Evoques.
Yeah.
The gearbox is shocking. You've drove a Gen 1. I've drove the latest version.
Well, it's the same gearbox.
Exactly.
It's the same 9-speed gearbox.
Stinking.
It is, but at the same time, I think that's just something that, again, that car's a waft. That it's not meant to be driven hard. It's not meant to be sport. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
I took the 4 Series out today. I've just done all the tyre pressures and stuff, and I took that. I tell you what, the ZF 8-speed box in that is awesome. Yeah, it's so smooth. It's so nice. Absolutely. Would I want a manual in that car? No, I wouldn't. in the M2. Would I want a manual? I like the DCT. I like the fact I can have that chill drive. I'm on the motorway, not worry about it, and just flick it up and down, and have a play when I want to.
That's it.
When the moment takes me.
I think the gearbox in the 2.
It's bloody aggressive when it's in.
Yeah, it's that happy medium between manual and auto, ain't it? I think it's.
But I do think like there's certain times like yesterday when I tried to get it off the line and it just kicked its tail out.
Yeah, it just lit the tyres up.
And that's not the gearbox's fault, but it is kind of the whole way that it's set up.
It's the power delivery.
How it delivers it, you know. Whereas you kind of look at, had that been in on the ZF 8-speed auto, would it have just picked its skirt up and off it went down the road sort of thing? So I don't know. We've gone way off, but this is about the modified car scene.
Yeah.
There's a couple of things that go on in Coventry. So we've got Motorfest that we have every year. Cancelled last year because Lizzie sadly popped off. And
do you know what I like about Motorfest is?
It celebrates all eras of the car.
It caters for everybody. If you like classic cars, there's a little stand for classic cars. If you like your American stuff, there's a stuff for American. If you like your OEM Plus, you've got your OEM Plus stands.
We're with the club that I was.
Yeah, exactly. Like that, wasn't it? You've got. If you want your Mad Jack drift cars, they drift around. They close the ring road off and they drift around the ring road. There's literally something for everyone.
And that's in Coventry, and the reason it's there, and the reason we have Motorfest, if for people that don't know, the Midlands and Coventry primarily is huge with automotive history.
Used to be. Automotive history.
There's still a huge amount of engineering that is done in the Midlands and in Coventry and Birmingham that provide parts for the likes of Jaguar, Land Rover, and Aston Martin and stuff like that. So there's still a lot of that goes on. But you know, back in the day, we did have Peugeot, we had Jaguar, we had Aston are down the road, Rover were only up the road in Longbridge, and MG,
you know, the Midlands
was the hub of the car production back until mid-90s maybe. Late 90s, something like that.
When did Peugeot close its doors?
Peugeot closed its doors after, I know when Peugeot closed the doors because I was a financial advisor and dealt with a lot of people with redundancy pay.
So that in must the 2000s then at that point?
That must have been 2007 maybe, 2008, something like that.
That would have been the last big one in Coventry. But
that was why that, you know, Motorfest kind of started in Coventry. But I think the other thing that's different now that we have a hell of a lot more of now than we ever had back when we were in the car scene is car shows.
Yes, there's more shows. So I think you could probably from the start of when's the start of the season? April?
Last week.
Last week. So a
couple of weeks ago. Fast Show's just been and gone at the pod. The weather was terrible.
So the season started. Yeah. You can literally now go to a show every week.
I think you can go to one Saturday, one Sunday.
Well,
loads on.
There's something every weekend now. Back in the day when we were, I think it was maybe once a month. Once every 2 months, maybe.
Well, I was just trying to think back actually to when the MR2 went and I stopped going to the show scene. So really, the MR2, the scene with those guys sort of started. I don't know if I want to say May, but it was Jap Fest down at Castle Combe was normally the first show. Yeah. Then you had Jap Show, which I think was at Santa Pod, and then JE, and then Jap Show finale, and there were a few other fillers in between there. But, you know, they tended to be more regional. Certainly it was Jap Show finale, JAE, Jap Fest, and maybe the other Jap Show. They were sort of the four main ones. But like you say, I don't feel that there was a show back then every weekend.
No.
Please come at me in the comments if my memory's not serving me correctly.
And I tell you what else has changed as well. Because of social media, you have more smaller groups, like we went to on Saturday. They meet sometimes Wednesdays, sometimes Saturdays, Sundays, and you get that all over the place.
Another one on Sunday,
I think they did, yeah. You have them all over the place. But another thing as well is places like Caffeine and Machine, and what they cater for is they don't just cater for your young lads and your young lasses with modified cars.
I actually think they cater for the
I think their aim is for the mature adult.
Yeah, I think
that hasn't grown up.
Yeah. No, but I think when you look at the fact you have to pay to get into Caffeine and Machine, you have to pay to buy a car. Drinks aren't particularly cheap.
I think they're aiming it at a certain market.
Yeah,
you say, the people that have a decent income, shall we call it, if you like, or over an older age, and have, I won't even say expensive cars because you do get. You get some real cool old stuff. You get some shonkers in there. But you also get your supercars, your hypercars.
Do you know what you get though? Do you know what you get with all of that? You get people that basically have 4-star or unleaded running through the veins, and that's
You do.
what I want.
You get proper
and that's
car
why
people.
after we actually came away from that meet on Saturday,
yeah.
I did feel that actually you don't know who you're going to bump into.
A little bit disappointed in ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we should have got. You know,
We were quite judgmental.
because do you know what? If I'd got out and stood by the car. And
someone would have come out.
Other people would have approached us and asked about the car.
Like on Sunday. So we, on Sunday, cleaned the cars, took them for a little photo shoot. I took some photos, and we've heard it driving down the road, pops and bangs. Yeah. I'm like, that's a Fiesta. True to form, it was a Fiesta.
Yeah, one of the new STs.
Was it an ST? It was an ST line. I didn't get that close to it.
Yeah, it wasn't.
I didn't get close
to it. Yeah.
But the lad come round, nice as pie. What you's doing? What's your Instagrams? Let me out. Lovely lad. And I think if we'd have stopped on Saturday,
we probably would have had the same.
There would have been more of the
same.
I
think that's what we need to do, isn't it? We need to actually, next time we've got the opportunity to go and do that, let's just go and mix with those people and get a real feel for, actually, has the car scene changed?
Or has...
Because that's the other thing, isn't it? That's the other thing. Come at us in the comments with that as well, because has the car scene changed? Or... has what we're seeing on the outside, because of what you see on the internet and what you see on social media, is that what's changed?
As it stands, we're not in the car scene as such, are we? No. Not really. No, we know what we like, and that's what we stick to. Yeah. So we are on the fringes of what we used to be.
I go to the occasional shows, but again, they all generally tend to centre around the Germans.
Yeah, you go to BMW shows or detailing shows because the detail kitchen and stuff like that. So we're on the fringes of the car scene, if you like. So has it changed? Are we looking at it from the outside, looking in and just being swayed by social media opinion? Or has it actually changed? Is it really like that?
Because I think when I was going to the shows, it was Jap Fest. It was all the Japanese cars. That's what it was.
But you were still in the scene.
Yeah. But whereas the show, I'm trying to think what the show was that was on at Telford the other weekend. I can't remember. Dub was it Dub Club?
Dub Fest.
Dub something like that. I can't remember what it was. Mainly Volkswagens was what it centred around. There were some Beamers there. I didn't go. I've just seen pictures of the event. And it does seem actually that the scenes now seem to centre more around brand specific rather than country specific from what I've seen. I know we do still have Jap Show and Jap Fest and stuff like that, but certainly with the German stuff or the Euro scene,
it's a dub seems to be more a BMW. Do you know what I don't see? And correct me if I'm wrong. You don't see much Merc stuff.
Well, they're all being used as Ubers.
Well, there is that. There is that. But you do see a lot of BMW shows, a lot of Dub shows. Dub Audi shows. Yeah. But you don't see a lot of Merc.
Dub is anything, isn't it? It's Audi, Volkswagen, Skoda, R8, Lamborghini. You'll see Lamborghini,
you will do
Bentleys and stuff
you
like
will,
that,
you will.
which is cool.
Yeah, it is.
But it's, like I say, I don't know, maybe it's because we haven't been to that many shows. I think the last show I went to was... Because I don't class the Detail Kitchen open days as shows.
No, they're not shows. They're open days.
Do you know what? That's more of a cars and coffee meet. That's more like a caffeine and machine.
Yes, yeah.
And that's what I'd love to see more of. Cars and coffee.
We're old, mate.
We are. Yeah, but that's huge in the US. You know.
Yeah,
you see a lot of the YouTubers that I do follow, and again, Thick Whips. Yes, he's a BMW guy. But when he goes to these cars and coffee events, and you're thinking, that's what I want. I want to just talk to people that are into the motors and see what they're doing, what their plans, what they've seen that's coming out. It's like, actually, if you think of the renders that have come out over the last couple of weeks that we've seen, right?
What have we seen? So we've seen the M5
Touring,
the Stelvio Touring. What else is there?
Not Stelvio, Giulia,
the M1.
Yeah, that M1 or 1M or whatever.
Filth.
Yeah, but it is just a render.
That was a teenage Macca's wet dream.
But I mean, you look at it and that's the kind of people you're going to be talking to. I want to turn up to shows and go, Macca, there's a C5 Corvette or something like random old school stuff.
And I think, do you know what as well?
And that's why I like caffeine, because you do get that. You get that eclectic mix.
You get a massive mix, which we need to do. We need to go there a little bit more regular, more so I can take lots of pictures.
Yeah, you can use the camera.
But yeah, we'll be going to some shows this year, so I think we'll get a little bit more insight. So we're gonna, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll revisit this video towards the end of the year, so maybe October time, when we've done a few shows, we've done a few cruises, stroke meets, and we'll let you know what our opinion is of the scene and what we've seen different to today.
Yeah, I think we probably need to try and go to some shows that we wouldn't normally go to. Like Santa Pod's only down the road.
Yeah.
Let's go to Jap Show, for example, or something like that.
I'm going to say no to Jap Show, and the reason being is it's a scene you've done.
Or Ultimate Streetcar.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's just a piss up. But probably don't do that one. But
we'll do that one. But no,
I'm not camping.
But like dub shows, we wouldn't go to dub shows because of the type of car we've got, so we'd park in the car park.
Yeah.
But stuff that we wouldn't normally go to.
We probably need to look at the calendar for places.
Yeah.
And look at some of the events
absolutely,
that are on
absolutely.
And pick some out.
Yeah, definitely. I think one that we're going to go to is Max Power Reunion.
Yeah, definitely.
Just because I want to be 21 again.
Yeah. Do you know what I'm hoping? We walk in there and it's just like a time machine, and Jackie Degg and Lucy Pinder are there, and they both look as hot as they did back in 2003.
Do you know what they do?
They've got the Max Power babes.
They do still have some of the original Max Power babes. We'll use that too. They ain't what they used to be.
They haven't aged as badly as we have, though. Even.
Oi, mate. I am like a fine wine. I'm getting finer as I get older. Yeah, right.
Anyway, we will come back to you on that at the end of the scene. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what what shows you're doing. Actually, yeah, that's probably a good one. Let us know what shows you're doing. Maybe we can meet up at some shows with some of you. That'd be really cool to do. But yeah, get after it. Let us know what's going on with your cars, what you're up to, and we will see you all in the next one.